The other day, to celebrate Ultraman Day, I released a little video called The History of Gigantron, covering the complete history of this gigantic, pink, bird-like kaiju from Ultraman Rising. Well, at least it would have been complete, but then something changed. This is Shannon Tindle, the main screenwriter and director of Ultraman Rising, and the creator of Gigantron. Believe it or not, I was actually able to get in contact with him, and he sent me a bunch of information about the kaiju that to my knowledge has never been heard before today. Yep, we're going to be sharing some exclusive breaking news on today's episode of The Toku Professor. Hello, and welcome back to the Kaiju Classroom that is somehow back to being a classroom again after the last video. So before we get started, even though this video isn't sponsored, I still want to give a shout out to the sponsor of the previous video, Seismic Toys, and thank them for helping me get in touch with Mr. Tindle. Thank you very much for setting up this opportunity for the channel. Okay, let's dive into what Gigantron's creator had to say. So with Seismic's help, I was able to send Mr. Tindle a list of over a dozen questions about Gigantron, and he kindly messaged back and answered every single one of them. We'll go over all the answers pertaining to Gigantron's behind-the-scenes history first, and then we'll look at the ones to do with the monster's in-universe history in Ultraman Rising. Alright, this seems like a good one to start with. I asked, how early on in the creation of the film was Gigantron created? Was it present in the earliest drafts? And Mr. Tindle replied, Gigantron was always a part of the film. I designed her way back in 2008. Interesting, so it seems that the kaiju was always going to have a role in the plot, but she wasn't actually designed until 7 years after the director came up with the story. I wonder if she'd been designed earlier if she'd have looked like an octopus, like Emmy used to. Next, I asked, were any changes made to how Gigantron/Emmy would behave once you were given permission to use the Ultraman IP? And the response was, no, the incredible team at Tsuburaya loved Gigantron and Emmy from the start, and were incredibly supportive of my vision for the characters. So, at least for these two monsters, it seems that the transition from Gamma Man to Ultraman Rising went pretty smoothly. You'll notice that in the History of Gigantron Part 1, I didn't mention how they created Gigantron's final roar. Well, that was because I didn't know. So I asked, how were Gigantron's roars created for the film? And Shannon Tindle answered, Randy Tom and the rest of our incredible team at Skywalker Sound drew inspiration from classic Ultraman kaiju sounds to create Gigantron's distinctive roar. Randy Tom was the film's supervising sound designer and has apparently worked on such films as The Incredibles, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Ratatouille, and even Star Wars Return of the Jedi. And now we know he helped create a roar for an Ultraman kaiju on top of that. He reportedly helped create Emmy's cries as well. That must have been tough. Previously, we speculated about if Gigantron would ever appear in live action. I asked director Tindle about the likelihood of this, and he answered, I don't know, but I would love to see her pop up in the live-action series. So would I, and we don't have to stop with her either. Why not bring back some of Ultraman Jonius's opponents into live-action as well? Just a suggestion. Next up, I asked to hear about the one live-action version of Gigantron that does exist so far, the one that walked out on stage with the director at Tsuburaya Convention 2023. Tindle replied, it was a complete surprise. When our team visited Tsubucon, we had no idea they'd built a suit. John Aoshima, the other director of Ultraman Rising, and I met her moments before she walked on stage. I may have teared up a little. It's not every day you see one of your creations made real at that scale. What a great story. And the last behind-the-scenes related question we have to discuss was this one. I asked, if there is ever an Ultraman Rising sequel, what part do you envision Gigantron would play in it? And the answer was, she would be a huge part, fighting a Seijin Scourge alongside Ultraman and Emmy. So there you have it. If we ever get that Ultraman Falling film Tindle once mentioned, you can expect to see Gigantron playing a big role in it, battling aliens. Alright, the remaining 10 questions I asked were to do with Gigantron's role in the film, so let's go through those now. I wanted to learn more about the Kaiju Scourge Gigantron is a part of, so I said, Dr. Onda refers to the devastating Kaiju Scourge. What is this? When did the Kaiju start attacking? The director answered, as teased in the opening of the film, the conflict with the Kaiju has been escalating for years. By the time Ken takes on the mantle of Ultraman, the conflict is at an all-time high due to the KDF's violent attacks and encroachment of Kaiju territory. So basically a lot of it seems to be the KDF's fault, which is ironic because they think they are mitigating the damage, when in reality they're making things worse. In the movie, it's easy to assume Gigantron is female based on when Ken Sato says Mecha Gigantron is, quote, not Emi's real mama. But I decided to ask Mr. Tindle for confirmation on this, and also ask what he thought a male Gigantron would be like. The director answered, yes, Gigantron is female, and a male Gigantron would be a lot to handle, far more aggressive. Wow, that's saying something, because Emi's mother was already a lot to handle. I guess Ultraman would really have his work cut out for him if Emi's dad showed up, but I suppose that confrontation will never happen, because the father is dead. Or wait, is he? Well, luckily, I asked Shannon Tindle that exact question, saying, also, is only one of Emi's parents alive? And he said, maybe, winking face. Could this be some sort of teaser for things to come? Sometime in the future, will we get to see Papa Tron? Wait, that sounds like the name of a pizza restaurant chain. Anyway, yes, that was a very mysterious answer from the director. Next, I asked, where was the KDF taking Emi's egg before Gigantron took them out? And how did they let Gigantron sneak up on them? The reply was very interesting. The KDF was taking Emi's egg to their incubation site as featured during Dr. Onda's speech to the KDF team. The egg was taken from a remote nesting site they'd recently discovered. The plan was to hatch the egg, raise Emi, and train her as a weapon against the Kaiju. As seen early in the film, Gigantron avoids detection by following beneath the ocean's surface. An early detection buoy is destroyed during the same scene, which is why she's able to stealthily track them. Wow, a lot of info here. So the KDF initially wanted to do with Emi basically what they ended up doing with Mecha Gigantron, and turn her into a Kaiju killing machine. But Ultraman messed up their plans. We're uncovering such great lore today. Next up, I was curious about this scene here where Ultraman tries to convince Gigantron to give the KDF the metal ball. I asked, when Ultraman asked Gigantron to give the metal ball back to the KDF, did the Kaiju understand what he was saying? The director's answer was no. Only Emi can understand Ultraman/Ken because she was raised by humans. So yeah, I guess trying to talk sense into this monster wasn't Ultraman's best ever idea. It all went right over her head. Doesn't mean Gigantron's dumb though. I asked this question, is Emi particularly smart for a Gigantron, or are all Gigantrons that intelligent? And Tindle's answer was, all Kaiju are far more intelligent than suspected. They have a complex system of communication, not unlike whales. This kind of reminds me of the MonsterVerse movies, and particularly King Ghidorah's Alpha Roar, which was used to awaken the Titans all over the world. Is the communication system of the Kaiju in Ultraman Rising anything like that, I wonder? Maybe if there's ever a sequel, it'll dig into that more. The director's next reply answers a question I brought up in my last video. Did Gigantron die before being transformed into Mecha Gigantron? Apparently not. As Tindle said, no, she was near death. I don't have much commentary to add to this one, just yay, now we know. The penultimate question we're looking at is, at the end of the film, when the Satos, Emi, and Gigantron are headed to Kaiju Island, did Ken Sato end up leaving Emi there with Gigantron and then return home, or were they just visiting the island? Shannon Tindle's answer was, she was left there to be raised by her mother in her natural habitat, but Ken pops in for frequent visits. So Emi is officially now living on Kaiju Island with, I assume, a bunch of other monsters. And last but not least, I asked the following. Are there any other specific details about Gigantron you would like me to tell people about? Because I thought maybe there was something cool about the Kaiju that I hadn't thought to ask about. His reply was, Gigantron is essentially the queen of the Kaiju in our world. When she roars, the other Kaiju listen. Interesting, so Gigantron is essentially Ultraman Rising's Alpha Titan, I guess. Like Godzilla in the MonsterVerse. I wonder if that means Emi is next in line for the throne. Maybe someday we'll see Gigantron commanding the other Kaiju to do something in a potential sequel. They should make one, don't you think? And that's what the creator of Gigantron had to say about his creation. If you're watching this, Mr. Tindle, thank you very much for answering my questions. It's a dream come true to get to hear back from the director of an official Ultraman movie. And as for everyone else, thank you very much for watching, and don't forget, you heard it all here on the Toku Professor channel first. Don't forget to like and comment to help this video get out to more people, and subscribe for more Kaiju content, and check out my eBay store, X account, and Teespring store. Links to all of that are in the description. And I just realized ever since I heard back from Mr. Tindle, I've been so excited that I haven't been keeping up with the rest of my emails on my G-Grasper mail account. I guess I'd better catch up on that real quick. Let's see, one from Ashuran Home Store. I don't need a new mattress, thank you very much, and you should really be in spam anyway. Okay, marked as read. Next. Daily reminder that I don't like... Okay. Typical. Marked as red. That covers everything, except... Wait, what are these? What are all these? They're all from Kishimu-kun and Pizza Leopard's addresses! Oh no! In a sheer act of stupidity, I've forgotten to check my messages, and the kids have been in great peril this whole time! Trapped in the mob closet! Hold on, kids, I'm coming!